So hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Q Explainer. So guys, in this video I'm going to tell you about Playwright Fixture. So guys, when we are writing something inside automation framework, on the time if we are using Playwright, then you must be aware about this Playwright Fixture thing. So in this video, I'll explain you Playwright Fixture. I'll show you that how we can create a basic fixture in our test framework, and I'll explain you about the importance of fixture. So let's get started. First thing is why we need playwright fixture. So first challenge is repetitive test setup. So when we are writing some automation test script, on the time we had multiple components, multiple like utility classes, multiple like logic, multiple pages. As a POM architecture, we can handle that pages, but that how we can handle that code duplication. So that problem we can solve it via fixer. Another thing is complex test state management. We have to manage our test data, we have to manage our browser context, we have to manage our different kind of test group, and the more complex framework and more like vast framework it is, more the more unimaginable, unmanageable that code actually it will become. So through that complex state management will be very difficult. So for that we can use fixer. And that is test reliability issue. So we have some complex scenarios, we have hacky scenarios, we have slower scenarios. How we can like maintain a reliable test execution. So for that we can use Pixel. So these three are actually the major reason, major challenges that we will get when our framework will be vast, and when our framework will be like used for a very important testing time. So on that time we can use fixer to overcome those challenges. Now let me tell you the playwright fixer like benefit. So what playwright fixer actually does, it will establish a isolated environment for each test, and it will ensure that every test will get whatever it wants, like proper method, proper functions, proper you can say page, proper logic. So it will ensure that picture. So you can think on this point of view. Suppose one a very big building. Inside building there are lots of different materials are there. So but fixer, what it will do, it will actually kind of structure that whole that entire building. So that whenever that you want to put something, you want to change something, you don't need to like change that entire thing, that entire structure. You just need to change that particular component, and it will actually impact on your house looks or house working. So like that you can think. So mostly it will create a cleaner, maintainable and scalable test suite. So by helping that reluctant setup, by eliminating that reluctant setup code, to ensure that test isolation and reliability, provide a clear structure of test dependencies, and it will efficient that our resource management. So playwright actually comes a built-in and pre-configured fixer that we are using for common framework and common testing time. So that is called page. Provide a single browser tab for interaction, including navigation, email selection, and user action. And there is context. So context, it actually helps to represent the browser context and see like private browsing modes, like different kind of tabs, isolated session, like helping to manage the cookie storage, browser storage. So those things it will help. And there is browser actually helps to underlying that browser instance, or we can establish that browser level operation with multiple context management. And another is request. So it will help to rearrange or ensuring that API request as per our test cases and test data system. So it will directly hit that a test API endpoint directly. So these four are some built-in fixes. Apart from these fixes, we can also include that different fixes also in Playwright. So here I'm giving one example about page fixer. So see that here, I have imported that a test method from Playwright test, and then here I'm putting page.go to, and then I'm directly hitting that URL. So this thing, what it will do, it will directly open the browser, and then it will directly hit that URL. Then I can check, I can assert that cover title, like play that page has loaded or not. Another thing is that suppose I want to click the start button, so similarly it will I'll hit that URL via page fixture. Then I can go to that element, and I will click that element, and then I will check that element is loaded or not. So this is one a very simple example for page fixture. Another picture is that custom fixture. So in this example here, what I have done, first I have created a constant, and inside that constant I actually create extend that base test with custom fixture. So I'm writing that base dot extend, and then I am authenticate that user, and then I will go to that login username and password, and then click that login button. And then once it is done, then I can checking that my login page is visible or not, and then I can use that page by authenticate to pass that authenticate, and then I am log out. So this is the very simple, very simple thing. And whatever test data I am defining, that I can define here. So I'll create that asynchronous function, and I'll like inside that asynchronous function I will declare one constant that is called data, and inside that data that data I am providing that data as in JSON. So this entire operation what I have performed, that comes under custom fixture. Now let me tell you the Pixar scope. So first thing is test scope. We need to define a scope. So new Pixar will create for each and every test, and then it will destroy. So we don't need to rewrite that every single thing from our end. Another is worker scope. So worker scope, for every worker process that Pixar will create. So sometimes that's different test cases we can run with different workers. Suppose some cases are there, like 100 cases are there, we can use that single worker, or we can use that multiple worker. For each and every worker we can define a custom fixture, and there is global scope. So this is only a one time for entire test should run, and it will share across that all workers and all test should. So it will comes under global scope. So these three scope, through these three scope we can define inside our fixture, playwright fixture. Now there are some advanced fixtures patterns are also there. First is parameterized fixture, and another is fixture dependencies. So parameterized fixture here, suppose I want to share some user data, so I can parameterize that my user data here. Another is fixture dependencies. So here suppose some dependencies are there, like admin page dependencies, so I can define inside our fixture dependencies. Now, while we are writing that fixture, we need to define some, we need to remember some best practices. First thing is, we need to start with some built-in fixture. Then we can keep on updating our fixture based upon our test requirement, test cases validation. If that we are writing some any extra fixture from our own or our extra custom fixtures, then we need to give a proper name and proper description. So in future, if we can check that our fixture, then we can get to know for what purpose that fixture will use. And then we can also we have to handle that our cleanup properly. For every logic completion, we have to clean up that our test suite. So for that we can define this cleanup thing in our fixture. And that is right scope, we have to choose that appropriate scope based upon that our test cases requirement. And we have to avoid that over nesting, like too many different kind of fixtures dependencies will actually makes that our test case laggy or very harder to understand or debug. So that's why we have to avoid that over nesting thing. Mostly that nesting fixes we have to avoid, because it will create that lots of confusion while we are writing that our test cases. Now there are some key takeaways. So Pixel is actually eliminate that code duplication. It will ensure that test isolation. It will leverage that some built-in, so we can leverage some built-in fixtures like page context browser request before creating a custom pixel. And we have it will gives us a proper understanding for test worker and global test. And so optimize, we can optimize that our test performance and resource management. Now let me show you a custom framework so you can understand more proper, and so you can understand more proper way. So guys, I came into my VS Code setup. So this is a very simple playwright framework. So inside the Playwright framework, let me start from uh, basic thing. First thing is Playwright configuration.js. This is totally custom thing. Okay, we are here. I have defining that our devices like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, everything I have defined here. Okay, and we have package.json. Here we are defining that our test script and dev dependencies. So that thing I have adding here, and then we have global setup.js. So this is our global setup. So for global setup, like we are defining that we are actually printing that environment base URL, and we are checking that our global setup is properly working or not. So that's why I'm adding some console message logs here. Okay, and then we have configure.js. So here we are configuring our URLs like base URLs, API URLs. Okay, so staging URLs, production URLs, everything we are adding here. Okay, inside the configuration section, and we are adding some functions over here. We are adding test data like admin data, user data, everything we are adding inside that config.js. Like those things are like mandatory for each and every like test case test suite or test suite framework. Now let me tell about my utility class. So utility class, here we have API client.js. So here all parameters I have added here all are actually comes under API, like headers, we have payload, everything here I have added. We are checking that authentication, we are putting that methods like delete method, put method, post method, everything we are defining inside this utility class. Then this is our test case. So this all are test case. I will comes later after that. Before that, let me tell you about the pages. So here we are actually putting that form architecture. So this is our base page. So base page we are navigating. So that's why here I'm putting that navigate method. So we every time we are writing, so we are hitting some URL, we just need to call this navigate method. And we are we have created that wait for log. I have created that get title method, click method, fill method, get text, every single thing I have defined inside that base page. Then I have login page. So login page here, it will actually extend from base page, and then here uh, I am taking the data from the data test ID, and then like I am creating one constructor, page constructor, and then I am exporting this class. Okay, so this is our page object model. Now let me comes to custom fixtures. Now this is very important, guys. So here what I have done, see, first thing is when we are asking about authenticate page, on the time what it will happen, it will go through this process automatically. When we are calling that API client, on the time what it will happen, it will go through this process. First it will call that, import that API client, then that thing it will started using it. Similarly DB connection also, context also, mobile page, everything it will go. Now similarly, this is our test script. So suppose when I am running this test suite authenticate test. So first test case here, it should be successfully validate the credential. So it will, so first it will create one constant, it will create one login page object, and then it will call that configuration method, get config method. So get config method here I define here actually inside the config.js. Okay, now here then it will log in via that user, and then it will check that dashboard is visible or not, then it will log off. Okay, similarly for here other cases also have same thing. Okay, similarly for API test also, it will actually ask for user data, and then it will check that ID and name should be coming from server side or not, so that it will check. Okay, so these are all are actually basic like Playwright framework. So mostly this custom fixer thing is that every time we are running some individual test cases, on that time these some methods are already being pre-written, those things will execute. Okay, and we can use this if we need actually. So I hope this video is actually helpful for you. And if this video is helpful, please do subscribe and help me to grow inside YouTube. And stay tuned with me along with me. And please do subscribe. And if this video actually gives you a understanding, please check out my other videos as well. And thank you guys. Thanks for watching this video. Thank you. Bye bye.